Können starten. Ich schaue noch mal kurz da nach hinten, wo ganz viel Equipment steht. Passt das? Super. Ja, dann hello and welcome to today's panel. We are here to talk about climate change and to talk about music and how we connect together. I'm very happy to have some great panelists here today. Come in. There are still seats. Come in, sit down, have fun, enjoy. My name is Yasmo. I'm your host for today or for this panel, and I'm happy to say hello and to introduce to you our panelists for the day. We have Andi Jansch, who co-created Austria's Music Declares Emergency platform, who is also known for his work at Las Vegas Records, and who will definitely be able to tell us a lot about how we can improve our work in music in the music industry in connection with the climate catastrophe that's going on. Also very happy to introduce to you Penny Hase, who is the founder of the World Trash Foundation, who helps events, collectives, and so on to make events actual green events, and who will give us some info and input on that today. And also Cesar Andion, who's here today from Spain. Thank you for coming to Vienna, who is the PR and talent expert for Live Nation Spain, and who's also done different projects and platforms in Spain for the future of music, if I may say so.
That's totally correct. Thank
there
you.
You go. I did my research. So we have climate change. We have a catastrophe going on. It gets worse every day. How does the future look, Andy? Could you tell us?
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm not sure, but
is there a future?
Concerning to music festivals, I definitely think that the classic musical festival like Glastonbury won't be happening in 10 years or something, with camping and with no infrastructure. For some reasons, and one of the reasons is that they are producing a lot of CO2 emissions on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's not safe anymore for several reasons. It's too hot, it's too rainy, stormy, I don't know, like wood fires and stuff. So they're dealing with a lot of problems. Yeah, and I'm not a festival maker, or I'm not doing festivals. I'm just a consumer or selling my bands there. But yeah, I would be very interested in how Caesar sees the situation.
Well, obviously there is no planet B, and the future is unpredictable. I mean, the main problem is that the weather is unpredictable these days. I mean, we all know that Glastonbury is always in the mud, so when one year there is sun out there, it's quite rare, and things are changing. It's like basically, if you organize festivals in Southern Europe during the summer, normally it was really rare that you get like storms or bad weather, but now it's happening more and more often. I mean, and only in the Mediterranean region that during the summer you get the summer storms are quite dangerous because very electric storms, and I've seen this happening since the late 80s and the 90s. So it has been happening always, but the main change now is unpredictable. It can happen anywhere, inland, in Northern Europe, in Southern Europe. Now there is floodings in Madrid, and there was last week terrible floodings in Greece this week. Burning Man, you all know what happened in Burning Man as well, so the people is still stuck there. So, I mean, this happens more in a regular basis, so it's like, for promoters like ourselves, it's getting more and more difficult to predict what is going to happen. So, therefore, we'll talk about that later. You need better insurances, like more like tricky contracts with the artists and with the institutions, because everything is changing. So for your question, I think the future is very unpredictable. So there is something that we cannot control, and that is weather. We can control the headliners, the production, the sound, and everything, but the weather, unpredictable.
So we are responsible for the weather, though, in a long-term view, and as we know, there are certain tipping points that we already have arrived at. So there are some things that probably won't change anymore, or change for the worst, for the worst. For the worst, who knows? But Penny, you support organizers, you support festivals to make them green events. Do you think that there could be a chance, if there was a broader understanding of how important your work is, or how important green events could be? Do you think that there could be a chance that at some point every event could be a green event? Do you have a lot of do you get a lot of feedback? Do you get more people asking you to help out, and who is asking you to help out?
So first of all, I would say that the future is quite predictable right now, because as a environmental activist in the first place, as I am, I can see the figures and the datas, and right now it's very predictable. So we have to do something, and the good thing is that more and more people, organizers, companies in the music industry, festival industry, are aware of the fact. And another good thing is that especially these companies who do have the money to start with the important changes, because nowadays every festival is able to take care of their trash better, you know. So it was like when we started the discussions about festivals and sustainability, then everybody was talking about trash because you could see it. So now this is something actually very easy, kind of very easy to solve. So, but it's actually not our biggest problem in terms of CO2 and emissions. So the really big changes, we do need in the first place actually some case studies. We need data. We really need to know what's going in, what's going out, and how can we do maybe a circular economy in the festival, in the concert area. And this needs a lot of money in the first place. So not the little festivals will do the change. You need the big players. And the good thing is, you know, you have like here and there some bands or some festivals who already starting, and they giving us and all the other festivals already some good data, like a good blueprint to work with. And yeah, so, and the other question was if there is if people are more aware and asking more. There is a very cool case study made by the Changency. It's like two pretty cool women in Germany, and they were doing together with Seed, the band, a huge project. It's called Plant a Seed. And what they did, they had 5 shows, and within these 5 shows, together with the Technical University in Berlin and also with the government, they were creating really like a case study with all the measurements. And they, there was one figure, and it was like talking to the people if they are interested in being going to more sustainable festivals, and if they're willing to pay a little bit more so the festival can do change some of the structures. And it is, I think, over 80% are willing. They want it. And if you give it to them and if you explain it to them, they're on board, actually. You know, it's just a lot about communication. So to the last question, yes, there are more and more people asking. And in my case, it's like that I do work with some festivals, like on a bigger scale. And then for the rest, we do a lot of performances and awareness work. And this is more likely that I look up, you know, where would I love to go? Is there a lake or a river, because it's getting hotter and hotter? So I want some refreshment, and then we write them. We say that's our program, and can we come? And they always say yes, because they also want more and more entertainment or ecotainment on their festival. Sorry for that long answer.
Thank you for the thorough answer. Okay, so there's the one thing everyone needs. You said it's money, it's funding case studies, it's funding research on green events or on how to make better festivals, I suppose, or environmentally friendlier festivals. Where can we get the money from? I'm looking at you, since you're at an organization who tries to raise awareness.
Yeah, good question. Also a hard one. There is a very interesting case study made in Switzerland for all the festivals in Switzerland, indoor, outdoor, and with camping. And it was a cooperation with Music Declares Emergency Switzerland and Migros. So the big supermarket chain Migros in Switzerland funded these case studies, and yeah, I'm quite sure there would be some similar funders in Austria. Migros is really big player in Switzerland for culture things and stuff. Yeah, but I think that should be possible, and it's not that expensive. I mean, we are not talking about billions or something. Yeah? The next step would be to get these results, and I think we can take this study right away, because Switzerland and Austria, I think they're quite similar. There are not too many very big outdoor festivals with camping. It's 3 or 4 or something like that. So we can take this study, bring it to Barracuda or Arcadia or whomever, and say these are real results. Just get into action, because again, the festivals are big polluters, and they're yeah, also struggling with the safety of their visitors. Mm-hmm. So I think they have 2 roles in this. They are kind of they're part of the problem and part of the solution. Yeah. So I think showing these results to the big players would be the first step.
And did you bring some copies to give them today at people that you need?
Actually, you can download it on the website from Music Declares.
Digitally. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so Cesar, you are working for a company that you could say is a big player on the market. Could you give us some insight into how you see your responsibilities as a big player and what you do to help to stop climate change and to make eco-friendlier festivals and shows?
Well, Live Nation is totally correct. Again, is one of the biggest players of live entertainment in the world. We organize more than 35,000 shows a year, lots of festivals. We own venues, theaters, etc., etc. And it's always been a very activist company and very concerned towards sustainability. And one of the main goals and projects within the company for a long time already is Green Nation. So it's priority for the company to develop the program and the work of Green Nation, not only within the company and within our festivals or venues. It's like also educating the fans and the industry as well. So we invest a lot of money and time and workforce in the program of Green Nation. We have a sustainability charter that you can find in our website that is already working for years for all our shows, festivals, etc., etc. So our commitment is to reduce 50% of the gas emissions for like 2030. I know it's a long way to go, but you know, things take time and money, and again, the company is very concerned about this. It's like not number 1 priority, but like number 2 probably in the company. First one is to sell tickets, but basically, but we need to sell tickets and have fun being green, basically.
Okay. I like that you can put it into numbers. What's number 1 and number 2?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
appreciate that. Yeah. But then again, you said before.
And I'm sorry. I'm really happy to. I didn't know what my colleague said about fans being happy to pay a contamination or charge into the tickets. That's quite interesting to know. And you know, that means that the fans are very concerned about this as well. So we do for years in our festivals in Spain and in the rest of the world, like education plans, and we have a lot of like squads, like green squads in the festivals, because I mean we think that we're all very green, but you see people like throwing plastic into the ground. Even now, the plastic is not happening in the festivals anymore, at least in our festivals. And even in front of the kids, I remember like a few years ago, like a whole family and the dad throwing the plastic glass into the grass, and it came to me, excuse me, there's a green bin there for recycling, and the young kids were seeing what the dad was doing. So there's still a lot of education to do, basically. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of education within the company and towards in the advertisements and promotion of the festivals as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you would help out César now to make a green event, like a total green event on a big scale, since he makes huge. I know, I'm kidding. But since his company makes huge, big festivals, big events, where would you start? What would you recommend? What would you say has to happen?
Yeah, like I said, first of all, it's important to know the facts and figures. What is the status quo? So, because so many events, they actually don't know where they have the highest emissions, and they start with something like trash, which is nice, and of course it's better if there's less, but in the end, you didn't win that much. So it's really important to maybe, it's always good if you have the situation of one location, let's say, and maybe the same band or concert, maybe in a row or with a similar target group, and then to work together with several, or like some students, you know, who do all the calculations for the CO2, with people who are talking to the people, like a survey, so that you get really information and data, and then that after, let's say, also take 3 concerts at least, there 5 are better, and because then you can do something, you can measure it, and the next day you can do it differently, can measure it, and then you have immediately an information about what is working, what's not working. To bring an example, to go back to Plant a Seed, because I think they made it really in a very, very good way, is the one day they offered just the catering as it is. It was 30% meat, 70% vegan, vegetarian. So they just offered it without any information. And they measured what were people buying. The next day, they made a little sign, and it did tell what is the dish with the least CO2. Mm-hmm. And then it was completely different. People were buying more the vegan dish, which is so cool, you know, just by giving people the information. So many are willing and clever enough to say, oh yeah, all right, I do it. Mm-hmm. So, and this would be a good setting, because then you get to know your audience, you get to know the location, you can find good partners for the future, and you can do it from the beginning in a very professional way. Mm-hmm. Because this way you don't lose too much energy by doing things which are nice but not very effective. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is what I do. I can tell César, you know, who are good partners, and
I really appreciate it. I mean, I was gonna say that since we started Mad Cool in Madrid, another festival, I'm talking about Madrid and Spain, where I work, we always been having specialist people like her, doing studies in our festivals and working from the beginning hand in hand with them. We are not experts in this matter. We are activists, and we are like, you know, working hard to change things. And I think we're doing. But you need the experts. You need the studies and the cases for every city, for every festival is a different thing, the transportation, the city itself, or the site. So you need the expertise from the incredible companies that are out there that are doing these studies, and we won some awards. Actually, awards are like mean nothing, but you know, it's really like rewarding when you make the effort and you're rewarded. Like, okay, we're following the right path here. Okay, so again, yeah, very happy you send me even more contacts.
Yeah, that would have been my next question. Is there like a platform or something where you share studies? Because I think it's not like a. I'm certain you're not the only one who does what you do, and I'm certain that festival organizers also work with people to make the events greener. Where does that knowledge get lost, or do you always have to redo it, or is there something where everything is shared because we can learn from each other?
A good platform for Europe is definitely a greener festival. This is also very good contact to start with, you know, to contact them, say, hey, we would like to change something. There you learn the basics, like the, you know, things you have to know. So the 5 issues of a green event or more sustainable event, like the transport, mobility, the energy, the catering, the waste, and the communication. So they have a lot of experts too, and they do have a good network. So it's, and not only for one country, it's like, you know, for more countries. And then now the studies are made, they also shared. You know, you just get them. Like a real big platform, let's say for Europe, which would be great, you know, not yet, not that I know, like where you get really a lot of different kind of information for all these different kind of events, because it's like, you know, it's, you have so many different kinds. You have events close by the city, so you can just, you know, get your energy from the net, and then you have the ones they're more outside where you don't have this. And same with water and like toilet situation, etc. Transporting things there, the whole logistic, you know. And so actually we need for basically, I don't know, like 5, 6 different kind of events, we actually need these studies. And then we can take this as a blueprint, and then we can say, okay, probably if we take this paper or this paper, you know, for this kind of festival, it's very similar, so that could work. But now this work we have to do first, like getting more information from different kind of events, like from the events where like 500 people are, 5,000, it's like all ranges. Yeah.
So, but as you said before, the audience, or with that plant a seed thing, the audience, or most of the audience said that they were willing to pay more to go to a green event. Music Declares Emergency Austria was released last year, right? It hasn't been that long. No. It started in the UK, or the first Music Declares Emergency started in the UK. What has happened since you started your work in Austria, and where do you apply? Do you apply pressure, and where?
Well, actually, we're running a campaign right now with an open letter, with some, from our perspective, very important things the government should do. It's supported by a lot of artists, music lovers, and organizations. And we support the Klimastreik, of course, on next week. And we're talking on panels, doing stuff like this. And one of the most important things Music Declares Emergency want to do or can do is to get artists to talk about the climate change and the climate catastrophe, and getting fans and the audience into doing something, or just into listening. Because an artist has much other possibilities to connect or to talk about than politicians or NGOs or something. It's the old problem that, I don't know, Greenpeace or WWF always talk about to the same people. And yeah, artists have the possibility to reach more people, and to talk about these problems in kind of a positive way. I'm not like the planet is going to die. My perspective is that we still can change something. Yeah, and artists help us to do that.
And what are your goals? What do you want to achieve with the platform of Music Declares Emergency? Will you be able to stop climate change for us, please?
We're trying hard. Well, the biggest goal is just to make the music industry greener. In some way, we have a lot of I don't know, tips and suggestions how to do it in a small way, in a big way, about streaming, about buying vinyl, about running your office. So small steps, but they have a great impact, we think, and especially the big festivals are a topic. Yeah, and I mean the topic from today, like the end of summer festival, that is something that really, means a lot to me, because when I was young, I really loved going to Frequency and Nova Rock and doing camping there with friends. It was amazing, and I don't think that my children will have the opportunity to do that. Yeah, and that's kind of sad. That's a big point, I think. And we talked about mobility at festivals. I think that's one of the biggest problems. Having, I don't know, Nova Rock with completely no infrastructure, and you have to get all the things there, like all the logistics, all the people, and this just is the biggest problem. So my question would be, I don't know, to the expert, are we going to have just city festivals in the near or in the future, and not these camping festivals we used to have?
Well, in our case, Spain is like a very, for a long time, it's been more of a city festival than a camping festival. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but probably like more than 75% of the festivals are inner city festival. So it's a different experience. I think it's like the fans are different. They are like more willing to do a touristic experience, and because of the heat as well. You know, I mean, Spain has always been really hot, and then the festivals is not like in Northern Europe and the UK that the festivals start from noon. In Spain, normally they start at like 5, 6, 7 in the evening. So the festival experience is different, because if you go to Primavera Sound, you spend the whole day at the beach or shopping, doing your touristic thing, whatever you want to do in the beautiful city of Barcelona, or if you come to Mad Cool, the same thing in Madrid, and then normally you stay in a hotel, or you know, I'm not going to promote those, but I mean, you know, those touristic apartments, and then you just go to the festival for music, and then they normally finish later, because basically because of the weather temperature. I mean, we've always been a really hot country, so it's like nobody would be like seeing bands at 40 degrees at 1 p.m. It's like not bearable. So I think there is more and more city festivals happening, not only in Spain, I think around the world. Basically, it's a real shame, because you know, I remember going to Glastonbury the first time, and it was like incredible experience for good and for bad. But you know, it's an experience, yeah. Like being in the mud when you're young, and wow, what is this? You know, it's just like a massive city of people bathing in mud. And but then you know, it's I don't know what I'm hearing about Burning Man this week. There are people stuck there, but being a massive family, like. Imagine being in the desert with no food, no water, anything. So it's just like Mad Max. You need to help each other, basically. So yeah, I mean, definitely the concept of festivals are changing. I mean, I'm obviously as promoters, we are happy to do any kind of festivals. Every festival is a different experience. I really like the city festivals, because as I'm saying, you can go to the museum and see Picasso paintings or Rembrandts or whatever, and then, you know, have a good meal in a good restaurant. it depends on the fans and the experience. So I'm happy to small boutique festivals in the middle of nowhere. So, but all of them, they need to be and get greener from the promoters and from the institutions. And you know, mobility is so important. I mean, we just had Harry Styles playing in Madrid, and the fans of Harry Styles are like normally like early 20s people. So I could see the parents going there to pick them up at midnight. You know, the transport is like, I mean, they were going and pick them up, and there was a traffic jam like crazy. So I mean, you need the support from the city and the police and the public transport to make things greener. I mean, apart from like, for more than you try to educate and say use the public transport, how can you tell a dad, hey, you know, don't use your car? If they are like,
I mean, there are some festivals you have to use your car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm talking about a city festival. There's like public transport is like the way to go, basically.
But also those festivals where you have to use a car, you can also use usually a shuttle, which is greener, isn't it? Or a bicycle.
I would like to put in a good example for a camping festival where you, or it's also up to the organizers. It's they started in Belgium, in Brussels. It's the Paradise City, and it is not in the city, so it is a little bit outside of the city, but still super easy to reach by public transport. And for the little rest, they have a shuttle. And they have now also a festival in Austria, the Paradiesgarten. And when they were going on location scouting, they wanted to have a castle also as well. And they had some nice locations, but they had to say no to most of them, because for them, one of the highest topics was there has to be a good way to travel by train. Not the shuttle bus, the train. Then it's a good location for them. And they were searching as long as they found it. And now, you know, you can go there. It's really, the train station is here. It's a 5-minute walk from the train station to the festival area. And people were really using it. And they were talking to the Austrian Railway company to add up the trains by night, because they also have daily festivals. Not everybody wants to sleep there because it's just 20-30 minutes away from Vienna. So more people are like, okay, I go there. The lineup is until 1, then I go home and I come the next day. So they were putting some more trains for the night. It was included in the festival ticket, and it works very, very well. And some other festivals I know, like all the festivals, you know, around Berlin, from all the Berlin scenes and the electronic music scene, they all offer the shuttle buses. And the tickets are most of the time, for the bus is most of the time included, which is super important. If you don't include it, then again, people try to find another way, because then the car is much more comfortable.
Car sharing,
But if you include this into the ticket price, people use it, because then it's so easy and convenient, and it's a good way to connect the festivals and the nature, untouched nature, to a good public transport.
If festival organizers are in the audience, write this down. Also, to the people listening, if you have questions for our panelists, we will start the opening of asking questions from the audience in a minute. I have one last question, or one last thing I want to talk about. So if we have to, because I had this conversation quite recently, the climate is changing and the seasons are changing. And there are already people saying that they think that summer break for pupils who go to school will also change, that it won't be in July and August anymore in, I don't know, 10 to 15 years, but they will have to either make it earlier or later because of the weather conditions, because if you're a family, you want to go on holiday and so on and so forth. And you can't do that in summer anymore, because, Do you think that it's possible that summer festivals may just, and camping festivals, open air festivals, that the season just changes and it will be put into autumn until autumn is so hot and crazed out with weather conditions that we have to put it into winter and wear jackets outside? Do you think that there could be just like a time shift with those open air things?
Well, in our case, Spain, because of the, again, warm country. I mean, the festival season. I think the first one starts is like festival, open air festival, is in April, and I think the last one October. So it's a big period of open air festivals, and it's always been like that. I mean, are we gonna extend it? Why? I don't know. You never know, because I mean, you can be flooded in summer. You can be flooded in October. I mean, we were supposed to have a festival next weekend, and well, it got cancelled for different reasons. But I mean, this year I've attended Spanish festivals that, not the whole festival, but the first night or the second night, we had this electric summer storm, especially in the Mediterranean. That at night, the Mediterranean water is very warm, and the air is getting cold. So it's like it creates a massive rain cloud that drops massive water, like massive. So it floods the whole thing. So you have to cancel. So this year I've been like in 2 or 3 festivals. They had to cancel Friday or Saturday, just one day. The next day, in a few hours, it's all clear. But that happens, and then you're like, okay, the bands cannot play it, and the fans cannot go. So it's like, and it can happen in summer, any moment. Especially like, and as I said before, that used to happen normally. I don't know if you know Benicassim Festival, that's in Castellón. That happened since the 90s, you know, all these electric storms from the Mediterranean. That's crazy. I've seen every year, but since the 90s. But it's happening more and more often, and in different regions that they never had it before. So the weather is unpredictable, the future is predictable, as you said, but the weather that's a problem for promoters. You don't know if it's gonna rain in the middle of summer when you never expected it. I remember when Mad Cool is in the first weekend of July. I remember like, when was this? Like 5 or 6 years ago. Incredible, like incredible rain that you never expected that in Madrid. Never in July. So I don't know if the way to go or to extend the festival season. I don't know. It depends on the countries as well. I mean, obviously the rest of the world and the rest of Europe is getting warmer and hotter. As I said before, we are used to like the heat, and even though we start our festivals in the evening, like 5 or 6 in the evening, is that going to happen in the UK and Austria and Germany and Switzerland? Probably. I mean, like in the tourism industry, like in Spain, we are losing tourists because of the heat. People cannot cope that heat anymore. I mean, this year we had 4 heat waves. Normally, it used to be one heat wave every year, like 4 or 5 days of 42 degrees or 40 degrees. But now this year it's been 4 heat waves. It's unbearable.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes. I guess if I would be a festival organizer, and at some point it's obvious that May might be a good time to start, then I would start in May. And if I realize, wow, October is just getting more and more beautiful, of course, and then I would try to skip maybe July and August, because these are really tough right now. To many festivals this season, and yeah, it was either the strong heavy rain or the 40 degrees, and then it's really dramatic for the organizers in terms of money.
Yeah, we need a new department. It's called the Oracle.
Yeah.
The question is, are we dealing with the situation and changing the festivals, or are we accepting the situation that we can't go ahead like this? I think there's a big deal. Of course, we can go to May, but that doesn't change a thing about the emissions of the festivals and being part of the problem. So I might think that will happen in the next few years, but in the end, I think it's the end of summer festivals with camping. Probably.
Maybe we still can change it. Are there questions from the audience? Does anyone have a question? I have to repeat it after you've asked it before for the live stream, but I am happy to repeat your questions. Yes? What do you think about green event certifications?
Yeah, it's, you know, if you have if it is like an overall seal, like say one for a country or one for Europe, and you know there is an organization behind it who takes it very serious, like a greener festival, they take it very serious. I was part of an audit this summer, 6 hour. They were grilling the head of production, waste, catering, like every head of the festival was in 6 hour grilling, you know, for what they're doing by now and what they've written in their report and why is this not like this. And I saw that. They're very, very strict and they take it very serious. And if you get like a good point from them, that is meaning something. So, and yes, of course, if you have organizations who, you know, you need a lot of activists in these organizations, and if they go and they have to go to the festivals, they have to see what people are writing, because that's most of the time the problem. You know, to be honest, if I do a green event in Vienna, it doesn't mean anything. You know, nobody is checking what I'm writing. And I make my crosses, I make some nice pictures, and then I can say I'm a green event. You know, so that's actually a problem. But if you have a good organization behind it and you have audits, so people coming, having a look, check what you are writing and claiming, then it's a very good thing, I'd say.
Auditors, green auditors.
Auditors, yes. Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. I mean, same thing we do in our company. There's a charter and a pledge for the company. It should be like a pledge for all the festivals in Europe. Who can do that? Maybe the European Union, maybe the associations or whatever. I mean, if I have all the scooters in my city and I cannot drive them anymore, I get fined. I mean, it's like if you do a festival that is polluting, maybe you can get fined as well. So it's like,
Or get funded.
or get funded, exactly. Support.
I think that's a way which is done in Vienna. I think, I'm not too sure, but if you're a green event, you are able to get funds, or it's it's just important to get to have certain certifications to get funded by the public.
Are there any other questions that I can repeat for you? Okay. Maybe that's a thing we could talk about real quick. Is it politics' responsibility to make sure that people have enough Gutsis, enough incentives to make green events, or is it like a general responsibility of every individual? Because you know, every individual has power to change the world, or would you put more responsibility to politics?
Well, I mean, when you organize a show or an open air concert, you need a license from the city government. So I mean, they have the tools and the force and the law to make it happen. It's like, I mean, your festival is not green enough to be happening in my city or in my land. So why not?
I think every stakeholder of everything has to be part of the solution. So if I take a festival or concert, it is politics to make it easier for me or to help me, and also to make it more difficult for the others, so that it's getting more and more, or less, it's getting less attractive to be a polluter. But I also need the artists, I need the crews, the organizers, I need the guests. everybody, if everybody is committed and willing to go through all these changes, then you have the best result. Because otherwise it's the old game of everybody, you know, me as a consumer, I say no, politics have to, you know, change it, and then I do it. Why should I? I'm a little person, I can do anything. But politicians are not changing anything if they don't get the you know, the votes from the people. And this is why you have to you know, to say what you want, to do the petitions, to sign something, to go on the street. This is all very, very important and helpful. And then, of course, you need the companies, the industry, who is also willing. And they need, again, the politics, you know, to get the goodies, the incentives to do the changes. So we're all in this, and we all have to, you know, to do our part.
And also help from the artists again. I mean, they have the voice and they are the faces.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know, festival is not green enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, change that. Yeah.
Well, basically, I think politics is the most important player in this situation, and they've kind of made it easy for themselves to blame us or to blame like every individual. You can change, you can buy organic food. It's easier thing. But that's the easiest way, and we struggle with Music Declares Emergency in a similar or in the same way when we attend artists to join or to do something. They say, well, I'm making mistakes too, I fly sometimes to a show, and I'm renting a big bus or something, I'm going with a van, and we say, oh, of course you do. I mean, artists from my label, they really have to turn every dime and really have to, if they want to make money out of it, they really have to be, look for the costs, and of course they pick the cheapest way of transport. And if the cheapest way of transport is a van or something, it's politics who made this van the cheapest kind of transport, and it's not the artist to blame for that. So I think that's a very big thing for the politics to make public transport, for example, it's just an example, cheaper.
As an artist, I can say with my band, we try to take the train anytime we can, but we usually have the problem that there is no drum set, and we have to transport the drum set, and we can't transport it by train, so there's always one car going. Everyone has the Klima ticket in my van,
Which is,
and
yeah.
but there's always one car we have to take, which is really annoying.
We're discussing this a lot, and this is no problem in jazz clubs, for example. And I don't get why, because Porgy and Bess, I don't know, have about 20 drum sets. You can choose whatever you want, because all the jazz musicians get a flight in. That's quite similar with traveling with the train. You can't take all your backline with you. So the good jazz clubs have amazing backline. I don't know why this is possible in indie clubs or other music clubs.
Shout out to Porgy. Okay. Yes. So we all have to come together and work for a better future. Is what I would conclude from this panel. Are there any questions left from the audience? Is there anything left that you would like to tell us, or you would like to say to summer festivals, climate change, and solidarity?
I'm really feel sorry for all the small festivals. I mean, Live Nation won't be. They will be here in 30 years or something. Yeah. But I read and I really felt so sorry for them. There is a small festival.
We do small festivals, a lot of them.
Not like these boutique festivals for I don't know 3,000 people or something. There was Rocken am Brocken. It's a German festival, and for some reason I like this festival. And they really had issues in 2018 with the dryness, so they weren't allowed to do any fire on the camping site, no cigarette, no gas grill or something, and they still made a festival. If I would be in charge, I would say no, the risk is too high because you can't control drunk people smoking and causing wood fires or something. And this year they had a thunderstorm and they really had an app with warnings. If I don't know, when drink 7 starts, you really have to run to your cars, get in, put the emergency lights on, if that other people can join you in your car. And it's amazing. It's absolutely unbelievable. And they did the festival, so it happened, but with these really extreme risks. So I wouldn't take these risks, and yeah, I think in a few years all these small festivals wouldn't take these risks as well, and they don't get insurances, or they have to pay double or something. So that's a problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. You know, insurances are getting more and more expensive because I mean the weather is more unpredictable every year. So it's like I don't know about if you heard about Primavera Sound canceling like on Wednesday because it was flooded like for not 4 weeks, for a week, and I mean imagine the money that is lost there. So then the insurance are getting more expensive for organizing festivals. So everything is getting more expensive towards this.
Is there a set of precautionary things you can organize as a festival to like have these messages, these info go to your cars or do this and that in case of? Is there like a blueprint of this sort somewhere?
Not yet, probably. I guess after this year, garbage was also a mess. Nobody who came in with their car or camper van or mobile couldn't get out by themselves. Every single car and trailer had to be torn out. I'm pretty sure they might have an emergency plan for next year because this was really heavy for them. I mean, so I guess yes, they will. They will have plans. I hope. And I don't know. For my last statement is always, act now. Every one of us has different roles in life. We're private persons and consumers, you know, in many ways. And whenever we think and we get an information what might be better, and we see it's not done there, say something, you know, in a nice and friendly way. Just drop it, because sometimes people or companies, when they know that many people want this and would support this, then it's easier for them. And also we as private persons have to make sure that also politics and governments know what we want. So we have to do this. And when we have the role of having an own company or a service, also, you know, make a check, you know, get some help from outside and let somebody tell you, hey, this here and there, you know, could be done better, and let's start. Let's start with 3 things we can do immediately, no costs, and let's see what is the really heavy, tough thing, and we will find a way, you know. And it's just about acting somehow, you know. The worst we can do is, you know, being this person who's not doing anything and just accepting everything.
Totally agree, and on top of that, people think that it's more expensive to be green. It's the opposite. It's at the end, it's cheaper for the promoters and for everybody.
And we can all join Music Declares Emergency Austria, even if we take the plane sometimes.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So if there are no questions left, I would say thank you very much for being here. Thank you for this very interesting conversation, and have a good day and stay green, I suppose.
Thank you.